Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the FK2 review. Now, we have been away for a while, and there's no really any other way of excusing of. We've tried, we didn't get there, but we're here now. So, you've missed a lot. Well, we've missed a lot. And to catch you up, here's a quick summary I made a couple of days ago for your faces. So, enjoy. Well, hello, Barons. It's me from the past. Woo! Okay. This is a quick rundown on everything we've missed on the podcast due to the hiatus. So, we're going to start off with the League Cup, quickly buzz through that, get the rest of the stuff done to get you caught up until the Motherwell game. So, first things first. We played Brecon City away on the 12th of July. That was our first game of the competitive season. With a 7-0 win, they started off. Great game at Glebe Park. 90% of the fans there were Falkirk fans. Scotty Arfield started us off early, the 18th minute. And then Dylan Tate scored in the 27th. Agyeman scored on the 30th. Scotty scored on the 34th. And that was half time. It did take us a while then to score again, the 77th, 83, and then the 91st. But yeah, a good first opening game for the Bairns in the Cup. Great run to start off with. Can't say the same about the next game, which was a 0-0 draw up at Balmoral for Falkirk versus Cove Rangers. Yeah, 90 minutes, nothing. So Cove and the Bairns took a point each. Falkirk got the bonus point after winning 4-2 on penalties. Yeah, it's just one of those slow games. Up next, though, was Queen's Park. Now, this game was an horrific start for us. Queen's Park took the lead in the 14th minute, and the Falkirk Stadium was very, very confused with how we've started this. How we easily dismantled Queen's Park, and to go down 1-0 in the 14th minute was a bit what's just happening. But then Ethan Ross found us and equalised in the 42nd minute. Then again in the 51st minute took the lead for the Bairns, and then Brian Graham to close it off in the 86th minute. So Falkirk got all 3 points. The next game was Spartans. A game that started off very slow again, but this time Falkirk did get the lead through Dylan Tate in the 23rd minute. Didn't take long for the Bairns to try and get settled, despite it being the League 2 side. Second half-time hits, fans are a bit grumbly, no really knowing what to say, what to do. Second half kicks off, Scott Arfield gets a goal in the 52nd minute, and then literally 3 minutes later, Calvin Miller scores again with a great assist from Keelan Adams. And then does it again in the 76th minute from another good assist from Agyeman. So that was the League Cup run, starting at least. Then we run to the first game of the season. The Barons packed out the stadium with a Tifo in the main stand and the Kevin McAllister stand. Just what a game, man. Honestly, what a game. Shock, Falkirk conceded first. Waters managed to open the scoring in the 40th minute. Burst the bubble slightly in the stadium. Went to half time, a goal down. We were all still optimistic. Dundee United haven't been able to beat us for the last few years, so we got to the stadium. We were all confident, thinking we could win it. Dylan Tate then scores in the 50th minute, letting that place erupt. Place is bouncing. Game goes on, and Dolchek gets the goal in the 71st minute to put Dundee United back in the lead. But their lead doesn't last long as Ethan Ross gets a really scruffy goal in the box in the 73rd minute, literally minutes apart, to make it 2-2. Falkirk had a couple good extra chances at the end of the game, but just couldn't finish it off, sadly. And that led to the first point on the road. Next game we weren't so lucky. We faced Livy, a 3-1 loss. Scott Pittman opened the scoring. Smith then got the goal to make it 2-0 just before half time. Ross McKeever then did get a goal back in the 74th minute. Scott Bain also did save a penalty midway through the game. What a save he got as well. In shock, Muirhead failed to save it after a handball from Hendo. And then Balika, I think that's how you say his name, scored in the dying minutes, the 88th minute, to finish the game off. Another good attendance though by the Falkirk fans. I think there was over 2,000 of us that day. So sad that we couldn't get the result we wanted. But speaking of another result we didn't get was against Celtic. We were expected to come here and lose. It was kind of expected. Like, get Celtic, we're not at their level yet, so we shouldn't think of ourselves at that level yet. But Dice Maeda opens the scoring in the 26th minute. And at half time, it's only 1-0. We're looking a bit optimistic. We're thinking we could get a close game here. And then in the 54th minute, Alistair Johnston fires it in the back of the net. And then that's when shit goes tips up. Murray puts it in the 61st. And then Hendo puts it in the back of the Falkirk net by accident in the 64th. But Keelan Adams does get a consolation goal in the 67th. Absolute screamer from the edge of the box. And yeah, Falkirk were out the cup. Up next though was our first win of the season against Aberdeen. What a game that was though. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting us to do much until the red card came along. The 43rd minute, Nicky Devlin gets sent off. And from then on out, it was an utter Falkirk domination. We had 62% of the possession. We had 19 shots compared to their 12. We had 9 on target, they only had 4. It was just a way better game for us on paper. And in the end, Kyrell Wilson on his debut gets the goal in the 75th minute to put the Bairns 1-0 up in our first 3 points down the road. But heading back down the road though, we faced a tough challenge in St Mirren. 0-0 at half time. The Bairns were optimistic. We were looking for this win to just capitalise off the back of what we just had. Weren't able to do so, sadly, as John made it, I don't know his first name, sorry, opened the scoring in the, I think it was the 64th minute. Declan John deflected free kick, broke the deadlock in the 64th minute. It was one of those ones, bad touch off of Brad, and yeah, Bain couldn't do anything. And then, but 20 minutes later, Mikael Madron crashed at home with a header. It was just one of those ones. And speaking of a header, Brian Graham came on, got himself his own header back in the net to get a consolation goal, so they didn't get a clean sheet. So at least we cancelled that out. Up next was another home game to Hibs, which got rescheduled. A really, really rough decision in the box from Ethan Williams. Turned to the side with his arm up, and obviously the ball's caught him in the arm, and it's gave them a penalty, which Martin Boyle very easily put away. And then McGrath, just one of the ones, like, I'm going to keep saying that again, it was just one of the ones, just a loose ball in the box, spun a defender, fired in the bottom corner, that was just it. But then, just before half time, McKeever managed to just nick it. Turned Ethan Williams cross into the back of the net just before the break, and then Hendo scored with a brilliant header from Ethan Williams' cross in from the corner. And that was it, 2-2. We then travelled to face the other side of Edinburgh. 3-0 loss away to Hearts. That was a rough game. Granted, after the 48th minute, I think we kind of just kept it clean. Stopped them from scoring any more. We did have a lot more possession after that point, but we just weren't getting any shots in, weren't doing enough in the box, or that. We could have had a lot more chances if we tried it, but Hearts were just better than us on that day. Xerxes opened the scoring early. Just what a goal, man. 30-yard strike into the top corner, man. Like that man's just something else. And then Shanks, a couple minutes later, driven low shot, right to the corner. Just what a shot. And then the man, I think it's Hacklet. Yeah, Hacklet killed the game off in the 48th just to put us out of our misery. But then, last but not least, is Falkirk versus Rangers. A good draw from there. Rangers got an offside goal earlier in the game. Then, after a couple of minutes after that, Bojan Majowski got the goal to make it 1-0 Rangers. Shushed the Ultras. But then Henry Cartwright scored an absolute screamer. Rolled I think it was Nicholas Raskin, knocked the ball forward, whack. Like just absolute power, rattles it into the back of the net, top corner. Falkirk Stadium erupts. But yeah, that is us fully caught up on everything that's happened the last few weeks. Oh, I forgot to mention also, that was the game that got Russell Martin sacked after he had to get a police escort away from the Rangers Ultras who were blocking out the bus. But yeah, now let's cut to the boys. Okay, that was quick. So we're now back. We are now going to go through, from what I said, from Motherwell to Dundee United, and just get it all out the way. So, with no further ado, Chris, let's start.
Yeah, so hi guys. Obviously, welcome back. Yeah, so I'm going to take you through the Motherwell game. A real game of two halves. Probably the start of our pretty decent run though. But if we're talking about the first half, that is not the how it started. So yeah, there was a couple of sort of talking points in terms of the starting lineup for this game. Obviously, Sam Hart coming in at left back was a bit of a talking point. Obviously, Leon McCann was injured, so he had to miss out. Sam had a bit of a nightmare first half for that game, which we'll kind of go on to sort of talk about. But yeah, the game itself finished 2-1 to the Bairns. But like I said, it was a real game of two halves. Probably the first talking point that I'd like to bring to the table for the guys would probably be the VAR decision to rule out Motherwell's opener. What would have been their opener? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
It was
You want to try that again? You're cutting it completely.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah, that's better, Ray.
Aye. It was a foul on Spencer, wasn't it?
Yes.
Aye.
If I recall correctly, because I've not watched the highlights in a while, I remember it being pretty soft. It was one of the ones where, and I think this is maybe just what modern football is like, where it's the old adage, isn't it? I can see why he's given it, I can see why he's ruled it out, but like it just feels like every foul now, some of the stuff that gets penalised now is so soft that if we had a goal disallowed for that, I think I would be genuinely quite raging. But when we get away with it, which I think we did there, you take it all day long.
I think it was a weird one because like when I watched it, I didn't see the foul. Like I point blank didn't see a foul from it. I just thought that like when the VAR check, I thought it was going to be an offside play or something like that. But then when I heard potential foul, I was confused because in my opinion, I didn't see one. Like I seen the boy jump in front of Spencer. I thought he had just went in front of Spencer and missed the ball, and the ball went past him. From my angle, I didn't see a foul there until I watched back the highlights, and I was like, yeah, that's a bit soft. Like, that could have been given us a goal any other day of the week.
Yeah. I'm the same. I thought we got away with one there, to be honest. In my head, I think it was very similar to the week before against Rangers with Cartwright when he bodied Diamande out the way. I think the kind of key difference was that Cartwright done that and then won the ball and took it away, whereas the Motherwell player that sort of done the same or similar to Spencer, he never picked up the ball after it, so it seemed like a bit of an off the ball situation was maybe where I think that there was a little bit of a difference between them. But again, I think we got away with one there. So yeah, obviously that was Motherwell's sort of first goal got disallowed. They scored pretty promptly after that with what was a really sort of well worked goal. Motherwell were pretty electric that first half. I thought the way that they passed the ball and the way that they were dragging us around was like we just did not have an answer to them at all. No. What are you guys thinking?
I think that he spoke about it himself when he like McGlynn when he came onto the interviews and that. Like it was just a case of Sam Hart looked lost on the pitch, and that impacted us a lot. It was a case of in my opinion, and we'll get onto him later on, but he kind of felt how Trey plays. He just didn't want to run, didn't want to actually do anything. He just wanted the ball to him or coming at him so he could deal with it that way. He didn't want to actually try and get involved with it. And it was just, that was like the moments where you watched him like looking around, like almost panicking. He what today?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, sorry, Ray, when he came on against Hearts, he looked really interested. He looked really up for it. Against Motherwell, obviously, I think he was against, was it Masawise or whatever his name is?
Yeah, Mawahise or something like that.
Mawahise, yeah. Yeah, obviously, he was up against him. He's quite a pacey guy and stuff. But yeah, he just didn't really look interested, and obviously, yeah, I think it kind of told throughout the first half. I don't think he was the sole underperformer, if I'm honest, but yeah, a lot of the good things that Motherwell were doing were coming down that left hand side for us.
Definitely.
Ray, you were going to say something.
I was just going to add to that this isn't me just like specifically digging him out or Trey or anybody else, but I think there's definitely some question marks over, and I suppose this is just a wider thing because you see it in Scottish football as well when guys for academies at like Rangers and Celtic go on loan to like lower league teams in this country, that sometimes it's just a mentality thing. It's not about like lack of fitness or anything like that. It's about that sometimes I think certain players maybe think they've already made it and they think that they're above certain things, and they're maybe when they come up to Scotland, especially in the Premiership, sometimes they're maybe a bit taken aback by how pacey our game actually is. Like our game's got a pretty crap reputation, but like when it's like us versus like Rangers or Celtic, it's about containment, defensive, and trying to maintain your shape in that. But when it's us against Motherwell, it's absolute chaos.
It's like that's like some team there. Like we've spoke before in the chat, it's like a team we should be seen as an equal, no as a team of like a major threat. As much as they are still a team of major threat, as we're in the Premiership now. It's not like we're playing against like a League Two side. We're playing against Motherwell or teams, like a team that's literally just made it to the semi-finals of the cup. It's like it's a team where we should be focusing on a lot more. Granted, he's came from Port Vale. I think that's right in saying it is Port Vale he came from.
Yeah.
They're currently rock bottom of League One. Like it's not like he's came like for a massive team down to our level. He's came up to our level, and it's a case that he's came in like if it is a mentality issue that he's came and it's too big for him. I could understand that, but it's like still it's like you come on like you should obviously have that mentality. But the thing is though, it's like what it's like that fast paced football that he might not be used to from League One.
And obviously, like, I mean, he's probably not getting regular football down there, which is why he's obviously been made available to us. So yeah, he's probably a bit behind the curve in terms of match sharpness and stuff like that. But yeah, I just felt like he was very much found out in that first half.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know you're going to talk about the substitution that was made, and it definitely made a big difference. I think there was also a drop off with Motherwell. We kind of reasserted ourselves on that. But sorry, I'm stepping on your toes. You're going to say all these things.
No, you're all right. It's a discussion. So just obviously on that, I think obviously first half, Motherwell were really at it, and we were not. I think probably calling out Sam Hart, Keelan Adams. Probably Brad and Dillon in the midfield were just getting like pulled everywhere, and I think that our forwards just did not get the opportunity to express their sort of attacking side of the game. Obviously towards the end of the first half, we had that very good chance with Kyrell that he put over the bar after being played in for Calvin, but apart from that,
that's right. I remember at the time thinking, how badly we were struggling to keep up with Motherwell. I remember thinking at the time how gutting a miss that was. I was like, oh, that was our chance. Because I'm sure I'm not alone in saying this. You would probably thought the same. You can tell me otherwise, that when Motherwell were 1-0 up and us, we're all thinking the same thing. That's if we go 2-0 down, this could be a long day.
Aye.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we were lucky to get away with anything less than 3-0 for that first half, to be perfectly honest.
I don't even think that's unfair. I think that, and it's not just that we were like mince or anything like that. Motherwell played some absolutely fantastic football. Like if that was my team, I would be applauding that, and their fans did applaud that at half time. But that's got to be like, how often have we found ourselves in that kind of situation as well? We're on top, playing great, but then struggling to put a team away. We ended up no really costing us all that much in the end when you think about how the championship went last season. But there's so many times where we were the better team than somebody and ended up no winning. I could literally point to quite a few different games against Livingston as a good example of this. That you can be a goal up or whatever. If we even taken the lead against Livingston, right enough. Maybe they're not the best example, but like when you're on top, you've got to put the team away.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
Chris Boyd saying again, like when we were talking, obviously Chris Boyd, he's not really a good like person to talk because he just moans about everything that's not about Rangers. But it was after obviously the Rangers game at our ground. He said that the Rangers players weren't looking for that goal to finish off the game. They were 1-0 up, and that was it. They were comfortable. They shouldn't have been. They should have been looking to kill it off because we're the team that's just came up. We're the team that should be struggling to stay in the league, like on the books wise. Yet we're putting up a performance like that against a Rangers side who should be performing a lot better. Granted, Russell Martin's horrible football was costing him a lot.
Isn't it, man? It really just serves to illustrate how much mentality plays a part in it. That it's like 20% ability, 80% mentality. Because even at half time against Motherwell, they're on top playing brilliant football. They go in at half time probably thinking, we've got this. Whereas Falkirk players go in and probably get a rollicking off John McGlynn and come out with absolute fire in their bellies. And well, that is exactly what happened. And Motherwell must have been like, what the hell? Like, this isn't what the script was. We were meant to go on and win this game comfortably. What is happening?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we should speak to like Big Time and try and get them to put like a half-time like team talk camera like hidden in the dressing room so we can actually hear what John's saying to them that fired them up this much.
No chance. No chance that'll be happening.
What Janky said to the team at halftime?
I think he's obviously, and this is obviously just my opinion. I think we didn't press very well. Like there was so many instances in that first half where Motherwell basically walked the ball to almost the halfway line without any sort of press on them. Which I remember at the time I was like, this is like. I think the word I used was unrecognisable. Like that Falkirk team in the first half were unrecognisable. So I think that McGlynn was probably had a bollocking for that. But I also think that McGlynn probably had assessed their tactics and obviously then focused on like what it is that they need to do in the second half. Because I didn't think it was solely due to the Motherwell drop off and the Philip Lisa substitution. I think that tactically we probably changed ever so slightly to try and like initiate that press earlier and stuff like that. And I think that's probably what done it. But
one thing I don't know that is like in that first half especially, this is going to be like a running thing that we're probably going to talk about. It's Kyrell's pressing. That boy will just run it. He's like a new age, like a younger Alfie. He just looks at you, sees a ball, and goes, "You're dying," and just runs at you. Like he's like a dog with a laser pointer. He just sees it and just goes, "Okay, your target, go." And he doesn't even think about it. He just runs for the ball, gets the ball, looks up and sees the goal as like a big shiny light, and he's a pigeon going for a big shiny thing, and he just goes for it. Yeah, like I know it's a weird way of explaining it, but
it's one of the things, and it just shows you that. Depending on how the team's doing, that can be viewed as a really good thing or a really bad thing, because at Celtic, they view Maeda, who does the same job, let's be honest, as, quote, a dog down the park chasing a ball about, but they see it in a negative way where it's like that's all he brings to the team and that. And it's like when you're playing well, you absolutely crucially need somebody like that in the team that can initiate the press. It's so important. But when things are not going your way, somebody just running after the ball doesn't actually help all that much.
No, and also it's like, especially with the way Kyrell plays, he's very skillful. He's like, how do I say this without making it sound really bad? He's like an alternative version of Ethan Ross. They have that same kind of like skilly play. He wants to dribble through the team. He's the exact same thing we've got with Ethan Ross, but younger. And it's the fact he's came for Swansea. Granted, we'll probably talk about the situation in a bit if we get to that. But it's like, it's a case of we need that. Somebody who's ready to just run through the team if need be. And he is good at it. We'll give him his dues. But it's the press on him. It's something else.
Just going back to your point, Ray, as well. I think sometimes when you are playing bad, though, that type of press can sort of lift the others around you. Just to say, like, sort of try and bring them on and be like, come on, guys, I'm putting a fucking shift in here. You guys.
It's just, it becomes glaringly obvious when they're the only one doing it, and it just makes them look like somebody that's just chasing about an empty carrier bag floating about in the wind. If the rest of the team aren't doing it, it makes them look like dafty.
Totally. So anyway, so half time, substitution was made. Sam Hart off for Philip Lisa. Obviously, it came out after it that obviously Sam Hart, he did take a bit of a knock in the first half, but I think it was more sort of he had just got a yellow card. Probably things may have been a bit heated, and I think obviously just to try and maintain the sort of 11 men on the park, we brought Philip Lisa on at left back, which is not his usual position. But what an impact that boy made in that second half.
It was like a different like level of football started that second half. As soon as he came on, and you seen the way he was, it wasn't even just a case of his like style of play was different. It was the fact that how alert he was from like the moment he stepped on the pitch. It was like, and I'm gonna use this analogy again, but it was like a dog with a laser pointer. It was just eyes. He was starting on the pitch, actually analysing the game perfectly, and able to like quickly move himself to like stop a press from happening or a counter attack. And then it was that relentless just bombing it down the wing. That boy was just different gravy.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray, what do you think?
I remember being pretty impressed with him at the time. What is his natural position? He's natural a centre half, isn't he?
Centre half
or right back, is it not?
Is he comfortable when he's right as well? Oh, there you go. He looks like a pretty decent prospect. He's somebody I wouldn't be against extending his stay here.
Aye.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got that sort of similar hunger. I was saying this to my brother-in-law. He's got a similar sort of hunger, or he displays a similar sort of hunger as like Finn Yeats. Like he wants to get after the ball. Like doesn't matter if the guy's bigger than him, he will go up with him, up for the header with him, etc. He wins quite a lot of headers. And obviously he's turning pace and his skill, especially because he's right-footed, like he does that cutting in, whereas obviously your Sam Hart and your Leon and even your Sean Mackey, if you like they will go down the line and try and get the delivery in. With the left foot, he gives us that different option, pulls guys inside, which then gives sort of the left winger sort of more room as well.
Yeah.
But I just thought that the way that he kind of carried the ball and was going past people just sort of gave us that lift. To try and obviously get that sort of equaliser, and then the equaliser did come courtesy of I think it was it Ethan Williams?
No, it was Calvin. Ross crossed it in, Calvin touched it down and just whacked it at the back of the net.
I thought
was Lisa involved in the build up because it came down that side?
I think it was Lisa that crossed it in. Ross headed it down, and then Calvin tapped it in.
Touched it down, and then Calvin, put it beyond the keeper.
Kind of similar to Scotty's goal against Partick at the end of the last season.
Aye, very much so. yeah, obviously, I think it was probably one of these goals that Calvin needed. I think up until then there was obviously a lot of grumblings, myself included, saying that Calvin wasn't really performing, or he was trying too much, or like things just weren't happening for him. But obviously that was a good sort of goal to take at probably a very good time to bring us back to 1-1.
I think that's fair. Like Calvin Miller kind of struggled a wee bit with a step up. I don't think that's being unfair to him. I think he's clearly showed since then that he is more than good enough for this level. But there was definitely question marks over he looks quite ineffective, he looks a bit lost sometimes. This is kind of like a turning point for him because his last couple of games, which we'll get to a little bit later on, he's been fantastic, man.
Yeah.
So I've just opened back the hat trick. It was actually Ethan Williams who crossed it to Ross McKeever. McKeever's touched it down, and Calvin's taken the touch and then just slotted it past underneath the keeper, right through his legs as well.
Yep. So that's us back 1-0, and then literally a couple of minutes later, I think it was maybe Dylan Tate found Ross McKeever 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he's failed to do what Calvin done, and slot that under the keeper's leg. Keeper making a good save as well.
It's I can't. What game was it? We done it as well. Was it maybe Rangers? I can't remember when it was, but it was like the exact same ball got played through. McKeever tried to shoot, and the ball had a bobble on it, and he just mistimed it completely.
I think it was.
Aye. Yeah. So yeah, that obviously.
It's sorry for interjecting. I remember I got into an argument with, well, not necessarily an argument, but it was on social media, and I at the time referred to that as an absolute sitter. And the guy that replied to me was like, "That's a brilliant save for the keeper." And that you like go to Specsavers and that. I was like, "Well, all right," but I don't know. I think am I being unkind by saying that I think he's got to score that? A striker, what better a chance do you want than that? Like he's got to be burying that. I know it's a great save in that, but how many great saves are born out of a striker missing a chance they absolutely should be busting the net with?
Aye, like I'm watching it. I've literally just watched it back now. He's taken an extra touch when he could have just hit it first time, and it's just one of those ones where it's a lapse of judgment. It's like, do I have time here to just hit it? And the keeper being that close to him, he's probably thinking, take a touch, try and get it underneath him, but he's that low, there was no chance of it.
Yeah, I think there is an element of a good save, but I agree with you, Ray. You need to expect your striker to put that away.
See, call me old-fashioned in that, right? But like, if a striker is inside the box and they need to take more than one touch to shoot, then that tells me they're not confident. Any decent striker should be able to strike a ball first time and not have to take touches. Bear in mind, like, again, my memory's not perfect on this, but if I recall, he's not very far out the goal when he takes the first touch. Like, he doesn't need to take that touch, hit it.
Nah, he's on the edge of the box. Yeah. Literally on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
But
that's a confidence issue. Like,
speaking of goals, Scotty Arfield.
Yeah. So I think obviously made some substitutes. Brian Graham comes on. Scotty Arfield comes on as well. The old guard, if you like. And I thought Alfie, yeah. I thought Alfie gave us that little bit of sort of different dynamic. And he pushed the issue as well on the right hand side. And then obviously the goal with the throw-in comes in. Alfie crosses it in after taking a touch, and obviously I think there was some calls for some of the Motherwell side of things saying that Brian Graham has committed a foul. I don't know how you can commit a foul against defenders when you've got three of them round you.
See, I can see where it came from because he's holding on to the defender's arm, pulling them back.
I think it's 6.5 dozen for me, but
like that's I'd say that's fair every time because he's tried to go for the ball, both of them at the same time. And
Graham loves a wee bit of shithousery, man. Like,
he does.
Again, we'll get to Dundee United a little bit later, but he loves it.
Definitely does.
But I think that's what is there. That's what he's in the box to do, is just to try and cause a bit of nuisance. Just even if he's not getting the ball, like make sure that the defender's not able to make a decent clearance, and that's exactly what happens. And then the main man is there, Scotty Arfield. He just does not miss when presented with that type of opportunity.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? So you can compare the McKeever chance to Arfield, right? Arfield isn't a striker, but he's got a striker's instinct because he knows where the goal is. And how often does he score goals with one touch, where he's no taking a touch to certain fell, taking another one to get it on his stronger foot? He's always hitting it first time, running onto the ball and striking it.
Just taking that
usually
chance.
passing it. Aye, like that's.
Yeah.
I don't really think you can teach that. Like, how many strikers aren't actually natural finishers? Is Ross McKeever a natural finisher? I don't think he is. I think he's a good player in that, but he's not a natural finisher.
No.
Nah, absolutely not. I totally agree with that.
I think from how Brian Graham's been this season as well, to touch on that, it's like at the start of the season, I think all of us were a bit weary for the fact that we've brought him in. Like, I think we were all kind of a bit, was this a case of we've got him so no one else could get him? But he's starting to now prove himself well that he's fitting into the team now.
Aye.
Just gonna say that, like, oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, I think it's just a case of sort of familiarising with the players around them and stuff, and fitting into how we play. And obviously, because of unfortunately, we've got a few injuries in that department, he's getting a start and stuff now. So that can only obviously help him push on, eh?
I think as well, like we already mentioned about Calvin Miller, he's another one that, and to be fair, John McGlynn did say this before the season started. I can't remember what newspaper it was in, but he said that a lot of these players will need to learn on the job about the requirements of the Premiership, because some of these players have played here maybe when they were really, really young, ages ago, in Brian Graham's instance. But there's definitely an element of with some of the players that you can see them improving as the season goes on. Brian Graham's another one. I had major doubts at him. I thought he was the cheap option. I thought he was somebody to have on the books, but wasn't really going to contribute anything, was probably just going to sit on the bench every week. But he's definitely growing on me. I don't know if it's his personality that's maybe doing a lot, because I think he is a bit of a wind-up merchant. He's a bit of a bastard. And how often, you both ken this, I was saying last season, we need a bastard in our team, somebody that's going to wind up the opposition, somebody that is going to pick up bookings for petulant nonsense. But you need somebody like that in the team, somebody that the opposition fans absolutely loathe and cannot stand. And Brian Graham fits that perfectly. He wants to play that role. I mean, we all booed him mercilessly when he played for Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mind the Partick Thistle game, the second last game of the season, like when we all thought he was coming off the pitch, like the chants and songs towards him, calling him ever under the sun, saying that he shagged his sister and all of that. It was a case of like the hatred was like there, you could just feel it. And then the moment he signed for Falkirk, I think it was a kind of a what's just happened moment. Like everyone kind of just sat there like on their hands going, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything.
No, it's like you can't just erase a whole season of genuine hatred. I mean, he scored against us a couple of times as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
it'd be like Benedictus signing for us. Like we'd all be sitting there going, "What the fuck's just happened? We've literally been slaughtering him for years. Why is he here?" And he's just sitting here going, "I don't know, money."
See, it's one of the things. Maybe it's just about what you appreciate in that personality. For me, I love a wind-up merchant. I think there's an art to it. Some folk don't like Chris Sutton because they think he is a wind-up merchant.
Everybody hates Dylan Tate because of him being a wind-up merchant.
Aye. Same with other pundits like Michael Stewart, for example. I think it's funny when people want to wind up other folk and the folk that take the bait. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, obviously, Bairns win 2-1 away from home. Good 3 points after such a dismal first half display. And obviously, kicks off a good kind of run, which Corey, I think, is going to continue by. Here's a wee summary of the Dundee game.
Aye, so Dundee game starts, it always starts. The Barons, full force, atmosphere's rocking in the Falkirk Stadium. First minute of the game, we have a bit of a scare. Dundee got a good ball through, takes it down to the byline, taps it. Scott Bain makes a wonderful save to keep the game 0-0. And it was kind of a back and forth between it. Not to mention, obviously, the fact that our old manager is in charge of Dundee currently. We don't know how long he's got left there, but can't be long. But Stephen Presley was given a not so warm welcome back to the stadium. But Falkirk had a good few chances to start off the first half, but then a sloppy play for the back almost costing us a goal again. Dylan Tate playing it back to the defender. Scott making a good save, but then a couple minutes later, set piece comes in, whips right across, and just on top of everyone else, head on it to the bottom corner. Just one of those ones where everyone crowded the centre penalty box and we just couldn't do anything about it. Good way.
Yeah.
Go for a set piece. Shocker.
No.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought the boy done well to get up for the header. I thought I would say it's a good cross and it's a good finish from a Dundee perspective. But like you say, Ray, we need to be doing better at set pieces. It's been our Achilles heel for a number of seasons. We do really need to do something.
It's getting really boring at this point, especially because so often when we lose a goal for a set piece, it's an unmarked header. Like, why is nobody putting any pressure on? Like, again, my memory's a bit hazy, but if I recall, there's no pressure on the ball at all. He's got all the time in the world to header it, if I'm remembering it correctly. I mean, it happened right in front of me, so I should remember it. But
he's had no one there. He's everyone surrounded everyone else bar him. He's just got up in front of it and put it in the bottom corner.
See, that kind of thing must drive Miguelin absolutely mental, because he's far too good a manager to not be working on these kind of things, yet it just keeps on happening.
No.
I mean, this is a guy that, remember, like, Clark Robertson literally scored against Celtic in the previous game, and he was already identified as the danger man. Why is he being left unmarked? It's mental.
Thing is, see, when I'm watching it back, it's a case of Lissa's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lissa's mistimed his jump. He's got there a second too late. But it's a case of you should have been there waiting for it.
That we probably need John McAnally in for this part, because I know how much he loves whinging about zonal marking and all that as well. So, like, go back to man marking. Like, that's what I say. This zonal marking shite just means that folk are being left completely unmarked. Danger men as well. And this isn't, unfortunately, the last time that we're going to talk about us losing a goal for a set piece, because there's another game coming up where that also happened.
Yeah. Well, speaking of losing goals to set pieces, let's talk about the controversial moment in this game. Let's get out the way. Was it a penalty or was it no?
I think it was a penalty.
But I was sitting with Chris and we kind of just looked at each other a bit confused at what had happened, because I didn't think it was a penalty at first from the angle we had. But from watching the highlights afterwards and seeing the different angles, I was like, oh, we've got away with another one there.
I would agree. I think that we did get away with it. I at first, obviously, I've seen like Carell's shin guard had been smashed and stuff like that, and I'm like, how can it possibly be looking at a penalty against Carell when his shin guard's been smashed and he has to get replacements in?
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it, I think, the way that I could see the way that obviously the Dundee players came in. He's came in like with a stud showing to try and kind of get to the ball and control the ball. And then obviously Kyrell's kicked the bottom of the studs.
See, this is where I need something maybe explained, and this is why I wish referees would explain the decisions they make, because the only way I could accept that not being a penalty is if they deem that the boy going in with the studs up is actually a foul before the contact takes place, and therefore the contact taking place with Kyrell afterwards is irrelevant because a foul already took place before that.
Like, from watching it back, it's like a simple case of the Dundee boys technically had possession because he was there at the ball. His foot was about to hit it, but Kyrell's booted in to get the ball, but he's booted him instead. Yeah. And it's one of the ones where any other day that's a 50-50. Referee just kind of looks and goes, You're both down, you both hurt each other, just get up, free kick,
Aye.
whoever. But because it's in
Correct
the
me if I'm
penalty
wrong as
box,
well. Like, the referee didn't give the penalty, and then VAR asked him to go and review it, and then he kept his
still
initial
didn't get it.
decision. Am I
Aye.
right? That's so rare, by the way. Like, that's something I was going to say during like talking about the Motherwell game with the goal that they got chopped off. Well, they actually got 2 goals chopped off. I never even talked about the other one for the
I
handball.
forgot
But
about that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we've been on the receiving end of quite a lot of decent fortune for VAR so far this season. And when you think about some of the absolutely horrific decisions that went against us last season, I'm thinking about Graham's red card, Alfie's
Alfie's.
red card.
Yeah.
Aye.
Livingston
Some other.
goal.
Aye. Pick one. I was genuinely worried. I'm sure a lot of us were as well for coming up with the nonsense of VAR. And here, I'm under no illusions, by the way. We're going to get some stinking decisions against us at
We
some
already
point.
have, especially with the Cali Thistle game, like the semi-final. Nobody asked for the penalty, and just out of nowhere, a play gets stopped, penalty for them, and I'll be honest, that was the game that derailed the semi-final for us.
Uh,
But yeah, so I think we've got away with one, to be honest. There, I can understand how the referees viewed it. I think he was incorrect, and I think that the goal, the VAR panel as well, both they actually said the same. That the referees made the wrong decision there.
Again, it only makes sense if you're saying that the boy coming in for Dundee with studs up is a foul, because you can't ignore his foul and then say it's a penalty because he committed the offence first. That's the
No.
only way it makes any sense to me. Otherwise, it's a stone wall penalty.
No. Right, let's move on to the equaliser. Conveniently, Robertson put it in his own net. Great bit of play for the throw-in. You know, usual stuff. Keelan with the throw-in. Throws it in quickly. Cross whipped across to Ethan, who touched it across there for McKeever. But Robertson gets the first that puts it in for us.
I think Ethan Williams does really, really well to get onto the end of it, and he puts it across at such a pace that obviously Robertson's not got any time to sort of adjust himself, and obviously we get a bit of the good fortune, but I think at that point coming sort of back out from half time, I think that we were pretty much the team that were looking to go and sort of get the goal. I think Dundee didn't really have much. To be fair, even in the first half, I didn't think they had much. They had a couple of long throws and stuff, a couple of corners, but in terms of like football, flowing football or anything like that, I don't think they really offered much at all.
No. But speaking about flowing football, I think it's only fair we play the goal before we talk about it. Connor Allen. What the fuck was that? Genuinely. Where's he pulled that for? Like, how? Like, how have we just managed to get a wee messy for? Well, no wee, but you know what I mean. Boys, literally, taking the ball. Oh, now, we won't talk about the bounce, right? There's been a lot of controversy about that bounce. And folk obviously don't know how a ball works in spinning. They don't know that if the ball's spinning one way, it'll bounce the other way. But balls came in, bounced over, he's taken the touch, then ran through the whole team and slotted into the back of the net. What a goal.
See, one thing just on that, by the way, just we're going to focus on the actual technique and stuff like that. But I've just got to say one thing about the whole thing with the bounce, because like you, I seen all the greeting for the Dundee supporters on social media. It was very, very funny. But something that a lot of supporters of other clubs need to get into their heads and get the chip off their shoulder with is that every single team in that league trains on some form of artificial pitch at some point during the week. This isn't like an alien surface to them that they have no concept of, and therefore that's the only reason that happened. These players are playing on these kind of surfaces when they're training all the time. That's bollocks.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, with the bounce way it being, the ball's spinning in a direction after it hits off the defender. It's not like the ball's came for a goal kick and it's hit the pitch at a funny angle and bounced away. You can clearly see the way it's spinning before he gets the ball. Like, it's came off the defender, up in the air, spinning backwards, and it's hit the ground as it's spinning backwards, so it's going to project itself in the opposite direction the way it was spinning.
I mean, all this greeting for a team whose pitch was so hilariously waterlogged that you couldn't write it. I know that's a couple of years ago. I just wanted to get a wee dig in there, but
just before I kind of give my thoughts on the goal itself, I thought obviously Connor Allen coming in at centre half for this particular game, I thought he strolled it. He looked absolutely like he had been playing there all season. Really, really good. So composed. I think obviously being that midfield, like natural midfielder as well, he's very, very comfortable on the ball, probably similar to Hendo. But I thought he was brilliant. Like Simon Murray never got a sniff. Pretty much all game.
And Simon Murray is somebody, as you all remember, because we were talking about it a lot in the summer about the strikers we wanted to sign, like Ken, before we got Brian Graham in. I was like, I would love Simon Murray in this team, but he looked absolutely bang average against us. He didn't really do anything.
It's one of the ones where it's like Connor coming in, like when obviously we didn't really have a choice, we're having a bit of an injury crisis. The options were take Lissa out of left back, put him in centre back, and put Sam back out wide, or keep it how it is and drop Connor back. And I know a lot of us were like, he's not played much for us. Is he going to be able to handle it? Especially like his first proper big start for us. The boy comes in and looks like he's been playing there for 30 years.
He was really, really good. I think he got man of the match, which obviously he deserved it after that goal as well. I thought one of the things that probably if you're from a Stephen Presley side of things, like the forward that's chasing him back, when he first kind of takes the ball from that bounce, like he's just got to tug his shirt or pull him back.
He grabbed his arm. He grabbed his arm and Connor just throws him out the way. He's like, nope.
Yeah. But like 89 minutes away from home, you're defending a draw. Like you've got to just take one for the team there. But obviously, thankfully, he doesn't. And
I think it's funny as well watching this back, seeing Brian Graham pretty much screaming at him, pass me the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. And then as soon as the ball goes in, he just drops off the main and he goes, right, fair play. And goes up, hugs him and that. And it's like, you're just watching Brian Graham go mental. It's we're all going mental because he's running through the team.
Yeah.
You know something as well, I'm sure I told you both about this as well, but I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus or anything like that, so I'll tell you this story and you can make your mind up if I've got the gift of foresight or no. But I kid you not, before the game started, I said to my mate Richie that I was watching the game with, I said to him, I don't even know why I brought this up. I said, when was the last time we scored a 90th minute winner? It's got to have been ages ago in that. This isn't something I bring up every game of that, by the way. There was just something about the way that game was shaped up. This was before kickoff, man. I was just like, I think that this might be the day where we score a late goal or something. And then it was about 86 minutes for that. He went for a slash and he came back. It was literally right before the goal. And he said, I'll tell you what, Ray, I wouldn't mind you being right the day with a late goal in that. And then it literally happened like 30 seconds after he said it.
Brilliant.
Nuts.
I know. I think the last time we scored a proper, 90th minute would have been the one who... I still call him the one that got away. Cal Morrison. I think it was him against Hamilton, was it no?
Montrose.
No, it was Montrose. The last time we scored a proper late goal was argument against Hamilton, but that didn't win the game right enough.
No, I swear it was last season 1-0 win. Like it was a late night kickoff against Hamilton. He smashed it for the outside of the box and it went in.
Oh, Oh, I know the one you're talking about. I don't
Aye.
think that was quite as late as that. Was it not about 80, 82, 83 minutes or something like
Uh,
that? I could be wrong.
I think it was mid-80s. I think, I don't know, but it definitely, it didn't have that sort of last-minute goal feel to it. So I
Aye,
didn't think it was
there's
that
just
late.
something about it. See when a goal goes in after about the 88th minute, that's when it's guaranteed wins. And then when it's as good a goal as that as well, the fact that he put Luke Graham on his arse as well just makes it even funnier because I
Aye.
still love that boy.
He's
Aye, same.
he's always going to be our boy as much as if we didn't have him anymore. But no,
Yeah,
there's not really much else to talk about the game apart from the fact that all Stephen Presley had a wee greet after full time about
I mean,
his favourite ex team.
you said that he's not going to be there much longer. I mean, you're right. He's got some presents to start delivering in a couple of weeks.
But I know it was a good run. But then then we had a not so good game. Ray, we'll let you talk about that one.
Oh, where to start? Let me go through my screeds and screeds of notes for a game that I absolutely totally watched because I knew for a fact. Like, it was one of these things. I think that see when we went there in the cup, right? It was an exciting. It was a day out. It was this big deal and that. Like I was total buzzing for that game and taking the lead twice and things like that. It felt special. Then when we got a doing in the cup earlier in the season, which I went to that one as well. I think I'd kind of just lost my enthusiasm for a bit. I didn't, truth be told, I didn't watch this game. That especially as well with it being Martin O'Neill's first game. I think as soon as Brendan Rodgers quit and Martin O'Neill came in, I think we all knew, oh, we are going to get pumped because new
Aye.
manager bounced and all that. This was never going to go any other way. See if Rodgers had stayed in the job, I think we might have stood a chance, but we were lambs being led to the slaughter, and unfortunately, yes, we did get a bit of a pasting. I know that the main talking point for a lot of people was that Scott Bain skipped one of the goals. Was it the third one to
Yeah.
Negrin? But one of the things, because I did still watch the highlights and that, it was one of the things where I'm like, oh, that's harsh because Scott Bain, but even by this point, was really starting to come onto a game. And I was like, look, he kept the score down. I mean, that could have been a lot worse than it ended up being.
Mhm.
And like, he's saved our bacon so many times. I think we can allow him one mistake.
It's just one of those ones. Let's be real. No one expected us going there, especially with Martin O'Neill taking like the position of manager. Nobody expected us to do anything wonderful. We expected at least a goal. Like, we scored against them in the cup. Granted, it was against Brendan Rodgers, but it was like, even if it's like a really, really shitty late scruffy goal was a wee consolation prize. Like, I think we all just like at least just wanted that, and we started off the game no too badly. Like
Yeah,
we kept the
Scotty
pressure
had
up at
that
the
chance
start.
early on.
Scotty had the start at the very beginning. I think after that though, it was just Celtic found their feet properly, and then that was their downfall.
Yeah, I think one of the big things for me is, and I sort of noticed this when I was watching the game, and I don't know if you guys agreed, but that was one game where Callum McGregor wasn't as effective, and I think that Rogers' style of play, he's like the key man and
Mm-hmm.
shifting the ball from left to right and finding the space and protecting the sort of back two because obviously the wing backs push on quite a lot. So I think that we set up to play against a Rogers team and nullify McGregor, and we'd done that, but they didn't play like a Rogers team, and
No.
therefore, like there was so many times where they were being like really direct. I think obviously for the fourth goal as well, it's like a long punt up the park, and Big Hendo's just kind of missed the challenge and allowed the winger to go in on goal and obviously score. So I
So
think
sorry,
that was kind of
but the very first
sorry.
goal, it's one of the ones fucking Scotty's got down to the ball perfectly. He's made a wonder save, but I don't think we were ready for them to be so quick on the second ball.
Yeah.
It was like that moment you just see like Dylan Tate switch off as a save. I think he just expected Scotty to grab it, and then Kenny just went in there and tapped it past him.
Yeah, totally. I think that happened quite a few times last season as well with Nicky. Like Nicky's made a good save, even like in the Hamilton game at the end of the season. Nicky's made a great save, and then obviously we've not reacted quick enough, and I think it was Scott Robinson scored to put Hamilton 1-0 up, and
Hang on,
put the,
it
put the
wasn't even
shiters
like
up all of us.
and it wasn't even like we didn't try and fight back because minutes later, the boss came in. It was ricocheted off the defender. Scotty's tapped it to Trey, and Trey's like tried to slap it past Schmeichel at the bottom corner, and he gives Schmeichel a good challenge. You see, like literally watch like him scrambling to stop Keelan from getting the ball.
Yeah,
So it wasn't a case
it's
like
a good
they
save for
weren't.
Schmeichel.
It wasn't like a case where no try to pick up a fight, but it was in the fact that the immediate counter attack from it, like just almost like copy and paste the first goal. Then they got the corner.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, see, just in general, like, I think that, because I'm just looking over the results for this season, I mean, Celtic and Hearts are the only teams to stop Falkirk scoring. Like, we've got to take a lot of pride in that, surely. That's the two best teams in the country on current form. Well, maybe no Hearts in the last few games. Maybe by the time this pod goes out, maybe Hearts have extended the lead at the top. I highly doubt it. I expect them to be second by the time this hits. But, yeah, the only disappointment is that the both times where we failed to score, we've also ended up being absolutely pumped.
No, it's no one of the ones where it's like with like against Hearts. I don't remember much of it, but it's like I just remember us like after the second goal went in, we kind of just stopped trying.
It didn't help that we conceded the third like straight after second half started. Like that just kills any chance of a comeback.
And then it was simply just a case of right, if you're here on it, stop them from scoring.
Yeah, I think to be fair to Hearts, like they were very, very good that game. Like obviously, I was at the game, thanks to Ray. But yeah, they were really, really good that day. Cammy Devlin, I was very, very impressed with. He was dictating everything. And then obviously, if you look at actually like the goals that we lost against Hearts, obviously the first one's a worldie. Nothing really you can do about that. Keelan maybe could have done better in the sort of the build up to it in terms of his challenging. The second one, Shanklin's one, obviously Lisa plays the ball into Cartwright. He doesn't control it well enough. Maybe Lisa's put him under a bit unnecessary pressure in there. But obviously, yeah, he's robbed and gets through, and then it's a free header. We didn't pick up our man at the corner, so technically, like the second and third goals, we should be doing better and no giving them the opportunity. And the first goal was an absolute worldie, which you can't really do anything about. Apart from that, I think Bain had a couple of decent saves, but they're almost saves that you expect Scott Bain to make because he's been so good for us. So, I think that game itself, we probably didn't get as much a doing in terms of Hearts being clinical, as opposed to we never really done much in the game. Hearts were really good at controlling it, but we gave them 2 of their 3 goals, really.
Like, just like a last bit, kind of before we move on to the next one, is a kind of like scary how like much we got. Like Scott Bain saved our arse here. We had 8 shots the entire game. They had 26.
Yeah, was it like something like 10 or 12 on target? Was it?
They had 11 on target.
11, yeah.
Even their XG was 4.18, and usually teams don't convert their full XG, so it means that he clearly made quite a few decent saves. Like, just on the subject of Scott Bain, I think that there's quite a few people backpedaling, and I sent enough messages talking about this at the start of the season. Go back, it's all there. I'm not trying to change my opinion now that the wind has changed direction or that. I said from the beginning, Scott Bain's a good goalkeeper. He was good at Dundee. That's why Celtic bought him in the first place. People wanted to judge him on his appearances for Celtic, but I was trying to say to them at the time that, look, it's difficult for a goalkeeper, seemingly not playing week in and week out, and they come in for the cold, especially playing for Celtic, where they're not making 10 saves a game. They're maybe relied on to make 1 or 2 saves a game, and they're rusty and they're not getting much action either. So it's gonna take longer to get up to match fitness. So
Mhm.
like people just kept in their heads the mistakes he was making at Celtic and that, and I knew it was like, nah, that's no him showing the best version of himself. And then when he came to us, he looked a bit ropey in pre-season and that, and folk were freaking out and being like, why did we sign him? We should have just kept Nicky. That's money wasted which could have been better spent elsewhere. And I was like, no, give him time. He is a good quality goalkeeper. He
Aye.
just needs match fitness. And now everybody realises like he's no in the Scotland squad because there's nobody else. He's there on merit. Like he's
Aye, definitely.
arguably the form goalkeeper in the country.
Yep.
Am
Absolutely.
I being a bit too biased here? I mean, I know that
No, you're
the
spot
half
on.
goalkeeper Swallow, he's decent enough, but like
Right
I can't
now,
think of
I'm
anybody
pretty
that's
sure
playing
I'm
better
right
than
in
him.
saying Scotty's the only Scottish keeper that's actually getting game time. Outside,
Yeah.
Which is
like,
nuts.
the injured ones.
If you have a look at the sort of like, I don't know if they're Opta stats or whatever, but those type of stats, like in saves made, saves percentage, shots faced, all that kind of stuff, like Scotty is like ahead of every other keeper in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, he's faced the most amount of shots and made the most amount of saves as well. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that stat very
Yep.
recently. Uh, it's one of the ones where you've got to imagine if he keeps himself fit, he's got to be in contention for being on the plane for the World Cup because
Yeah.
it's all well and good that Clark wants to pick guys he's loyalty and that, and I get it. But see when it starts coming to the point where we are actually talking about going to a World Cup, you want guys that are fit and in form. Let's see if Craig Gordon still isn't playing between now and the end of the season, he can't be on that plane. And I say
No.
that as a guy that I love Craig Gordon. He's been Scotland goalkeeper since I got into football in 2004. He's been a constant the entire time. I adore the guy. But if he's not playing and Scott Bain is, he should be on the plane and Craig Gordon shouldn't. It's really as simple as that.
It
I,
is
I think I think if we defy odds and somehow like we maintain our form and get a top six finish, then Scotty's on that plane. I would even argue maybe some of our other boys need to be having a bit of a look in
I think
as
if
well.
Keelan keeps up the way he's gone, he'll be on that plane too.
See, something I worry about is when we're talking about players and things like that as well. Like Scott Bain we could end up being looking at some like transfer folk sniffing around and things like that. And then, I've not even thought about the gaffer. I mean, you've got a couple of managers on Sugarly Pegs. You've got Jimmy Killeen at Aberdeen and Jim Goodwin at Dundee United. Their positions are definitely Sugarly Pegs at the moment. If one of them sacks their manager, why would they not look at John McGlynn?
They're going to have to get the checkbook out though.
Aye,
And I know that some of these teams can probably entice us with a figure, but it would need to be a big figure. I think obviously you see how sort of Jamie and the board kind of rate McGlynn. He's happy here. He's got his squad of players that he likes and that he knows how to work with. It would need to be a very very enticing offer for him to go and.
Aye. I personally, I
Aberdeen
don't
and
think he
Dundee
would.
United. Sorry, I was just going to say Aberdeen and Dundee United probably on paper do look like more enticing offers than Falkirk, but when you roll it into the whole kind of package and like McGlynn's quite settled here and stuff like that, they're maybe not as enticing to him as what they are on paper.
I think so. I think that McGlynn's quite a loyal guy. I think that he would only step away from Falkirk when he feels like he's taken them as far as he can.
Mm-hmm.
There is, however, because they're talking about Scotland, it just got me thinking like if Clark bows out of Scotland after the World Cup, I feel like John McGlynn ticks a lot of boxes.
He could. Right. I don't want to
Absolutely.
like interject and change subject here, but Ray was literally talking about the fact that Hearts could be sitting second after this. Motherwell have just scored.
All right.
Literally, as we're
Well, there
recording
you
this,
go.
my phone's buzzed because I've got like all the games watching on. Motherwell have just taken the lead.
Well, there you go.
Oh, well, speaking about taking the lead, we've done it 3 times in the first half in the next game. Chris, you want to take that one? Right, so as we were recording that saying that Motherwell had scored, it's just been rolled off for offside. So we'll take back any subtle jokes we made there. But right, let's continue on. We've changed over the plan. I'm going to take over the next match. So next up was Falkirk versus Kilmarnock. Now, I'll be honest, going to this game, I don't know what it was, but I was just really nervous. I don't know what it was.
Man, you're nervous before every game.
No. Because before the Dundee game, I said we were going to win. Right, I said we were going to get a 1-0 scrappy win, and we'll be fine. But I
think that
close enough.
The thing with Kilmarnock is that they're just Falkirk's historic bogey team, and this has just went back so long. I think there's a lot of trauma for the 1997 Scottish Cup final that still seems to be inherited by the younger generation as well. That Kilmarnock just makes folk nervous.
But this time we got the better of them this time. Game started off really well. Falkirk straight out the bag with just constant pressure. Literally within the first minute of the game, we've caught the defender. You know, he's taking that moment of lapse of judgment. What am I doing? Where am I passing it? Calvin's muscled him off the ball and cracked it at the keeper. Granted, it didn't get enough power on it to put it in, but still was a good chance. And then Ethan Williams, man, that boy is, I'll be honest, I'll say it, outside Scott Bain, signing of the season.
Oh, well, that's an interesting debate.
I'll say it. I think I'm just biased because I love the boy. But
I think he's a wonderful footballer, and you can see why he's a product of Man United rather than like even Cartwright and Lisa and Wilson. Like those are still quite really good sort of sides, like Leicester and Swansea. Like a level above kind of what we are, if you like. But like a Man United youngster, he's just so comfortable on the ball. Like he's 2-footed as well. Like I still don't know if he's right or left footed.
I'll be honest, I didn't actually realise how young he was until they posted the happy birthday that he had just turned 20. And I was like, he's turned... What do you mean he's just turned 20? I thought he was like 21, 22.
See the thing that sticks in my head with Ethan Williams, I know this isn't specifically about this game when I say this, right, but I just mind back to see when we drew 2-2 with Hibs, he gives away the penalty, and it's a really stupid penalty to give away, and he could sit there and feel sorry for himself and be frustrated and wish they hadn't done things and that, but what did he do instead? He laid on both assists for both of the goals. That speaks a lot about his mentality.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely.
I think the boy's got a pretty decent ceiling in terms of his ability. But like what you were saying as well about him, what is his position? Is he a left winger? Is he a right winger? Is he a centre attack?
I want to say he's a left winger. But he's first hill.
Am I tripping, or has he played across all three of the positions? And I wouldn't say he stands out in any of them, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that he looks comfortable anywhere.
He is. He's just one of those players. And he's actually his uncle actually was he's an MBE. I just looked up his name there. He's won like multiple European titles for under 21 level, and then played for Man City in the 80s. So his uncle was never a bad player.
I mean, the academy at Man United, right? It's never stopped producing class players. They just don't play class for Man United, isn't that right, Scott McTominay? But they've never stopped the conveyor belt. I mean, you can still rhyme off plenty of English players that have come through Man United, even in the last few years, that have been great. Even the ones that don't make it are still, a lot of the time, decent football players, and you can see that he's decent. He's just maybe still got a few things to learn and that. He's still a little bit, he is still young, like you say, he's only 20. So he's only going to get better.
Aye. But let's talk about that goal, though. No, definitely. Let's talk about that goal, though. Calvin Miller's won the ball, but Kyle Rails tried to play through the middle, and he's just seen him running ahead. He's tapped the ball past the keeper and just tapped in the back of the net. Offside flag goes up, and even Ethan was a bit confused because even from where I was sitting, I knew he was onside. VAR's had a very lengthy check.
Yeah, it was very
It's
tight.
tight. It's tight. It's tighter than two coats of paint, isn't it? But mind I wasn't well. Surprise, so I watched it in the house, and I would mind I was messaging you during the game, and
he was onside by a ball hair.
He was just on. Like, I'm right in saying that the linesman gave it as offside pretty much straight away as soon as he scored it, didn't he?
He knew he was off and just waited until he had scored and then gave it because he wasn't. I don't think he was 100% sure. I think it was one of the ones where, like, I think he's off, but it's too tight to tell, so I'll wait till he scores to say. Which is one thing, like, I'm iffy with the linesman. I don't always agree with it. Because when it's against us and they do it, it's like, right, you could have raised the flag a lot earlier. But in the case where it's for us, it's like, okay, thank you, linesman, for giving that time.
Aye. I just, with VAR, I just wish that they could speed up the process a wee bit. See if it takes like 2-3 full minutes of reviewing footage to check whether it's the right or wrong decision, then it clearly isn't that obvious and shouldn't be changed in the first place. Like, the very first replay of it, you can see he's onside, and they still took ages to check it anyway. And I'm like, why are they still checking? Like, if you're having to get rulers out in that, then, like, come on. Like, do you know what I mean?
See what's interesting is obviously where I sit, it's quite close to the home dugout, and every time there's sort of like a VAR decision in terms of like offside or whether it was over the line or anything like that, you can see like Stevie McGinn's got like the headset on and he's looking up to the media guys and saying like thumbs up or thumbs down type thing, how does that look and what's the outcome going to look like kind of thing. So it's almost like you can tell by his reaction as to whether it's really tight and they don't know, or whether it's that's completely offside. I remember the Rangers one, he'd done it when Mike and Moore went through and they scored, but it got ruled off for offside. Like that, he was miles offside, but like McGinn done that sort of like that action, and he was just like thumbs down, and then they were saying thumbs down, like it's being ruled out kind of thing. So.
It was a few times last season like where VAR could have been there that would have been our way, vice versa and that, but there's one that I've spoke to a few folk about with like VAR, like luckily for us it wasn't in like last season in the championship, was Ethan Ross's goal against Hamilton that put us in the lead. Because I've spoke to a few folk about like stuff like that, and the one thing they always bring up is that goal should have never accounted if VAR was a thing, simply for the fact that it hits Gary's hand. And like it was a very big talking point like after the game and that as well, that goal shouldn't have stood, blah blah blah. But if you look at it, he's went to knee it and his hand's down by his side. So it's not a case he's deliberately hit it with his hand. He's went to touch it with his knee, but it's hit his like hip and his hand's right there. So there's nothing they can do about it.
See, to be honest, man, I'm so sorry for interjecting again.
No.
I just wanted to quickly say I'm so sick of debates about handball, and I don't mean you, Corey. I just mean in general that there's just so much vagueness about the rule and what constitutes handball and what doesn't. I'm so sick of it. What's a natural position? Like, what does that even mean?
Exactly. Even with like offside now, it's like my pinky toe can be offside, my whole body's now offside. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, literally in FIFA, I'm not kidding you. Like, been playing the game. Literally, like, an inch of someone's knee can be offside in that shoe.
Well, that is offside drill, though, eh?
That is
like
bull.
You can score with your knee. So it's any part of the body that you can legally score with.
Still, it's like the small thing. It's like the very, like a literal atom of your body that can be played and that's you off.
Well,
I missed the old offside drill.
That's the rule.
I missed the old one. Bring it back. Whole body have to be offside.
Well, that's what Arsene Wenger was trying to put through. Is he still? You do UEFA, I can't even mind, but like, I just what I want rules that incentivise goals being scored, not goals being disallowed. Personally, I don't see how that makes the sport work. More goals, less as opposed to less.
Like, I'd rather have a I would rather not watch a scrappy 0-0 goal than like a 5-5 draw. Like, for a neutral perspective, granted, the home and away fans might not enjoy having to watch the other team celebrate like 5 times, but as a neutral perspective, you'd rather watch a high-scoring game than a scrappy 0-0 draw, because you're most likely going to turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely fair neutral perspective, but if you're a defender, that's not what you want.
That's the game.
No.
But anyway, speaking of defence, second goal comes from I want to say that was an Ethan. Was it Ethan or was it Kyrell? It was a Kyrell shot. Kyrell hits at the keeper. The keeper's not ready for the second shot. The second coming in it, and neither was the defender. And McKeever's just ran, tapped it past the keeper, and great goal. Quick bit of play as well. And then third goal, I mean, both goals were kind of quick. Sorry, like, kind of interject, just trying to get us kind of through. We'll talk about them in a second, but the third goal was a bit well, it doesn't help that McKeever came off as well though, minutes after it. But we'll talk about it in a second.
It's a shame. It's a shame for Ross McKeever because it's not the first injury that he's picked up, and just like the injury he picked up against Celtic in the cup last season, he only seems to get injured when he's finally getting back into form and he's finally getting a bit of steam behind him. He never gets injured when he's struggling or playing crap. It's always when it's like, oh, this is a turning point. This is when he's going to develop into the brilliant player that we believe he can be. And then injury goes, nope. Enjoy sitting on the recovery, the sidelines for, I mean, what is it? He's meant to be out for like 12 weeks or something like that. Like, that's him coming back with no fitness again, and he's going to be struggling again for a while. And that, I really feel for the boy sometimes, man. It's really unfair. It's quite cruel.
And it doesn't even make it better now that we've now lost another striker in Gary Oliver being it.
Yeah.
Aye. So it pretty much points to Barney Stewart being called back in January. That's almost a guaranteed certainty at this point.
I think in the interview there when after just before the Dundee United game, where they were asking John like if they had any plans for Barney, and he just pussyfooted around it because he didn't want to like say anything. He didn't want to let Dunfermline know if they had plans for Barney, because we've obviously spoke a lot in the chat about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Obviously, they didn't want for Dunfermline to say, okay, well, if he's going back, we're not going to play him. And the whole point of him going out on loan is to get game time and to get experience. So,
because he said in the interview, the one thing we don't want is Barney playing in the Scottish Cup, which means it should have been a hint of we're bringing him back to play in the Scottish Cup. Like,
at the very least.
Aye. So it's a case of it's almost written that he's coming back, but the this is how annoying my Facebook is. I, for some reason, keep getting posts from the Dunfermline group whenever they talk about our players.
It's because it suggests things that you keep looking at. So maybe stop going on Dunfermline pages and it'll stop recommending Dunfermline pages.
It's not. I'm not looking at them, I promise. But no, it's simply just the case of like their fans are adamant that Barney's staying. Barney loves the club. And the few folk I've spoke to that have like seen Barney out in public, the one thing he says is, "I can't wait to be back." Like, I don't know if it's just a case that he still feels a bit out-ish there because he doesn't really know anyone that well outside like the Todd brothers and that. But it's like,
here's the thing. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly say that both of those statements can be true, right? He can because bear in mind he's no Faye Falkirk, so he's not going to have the same thing about Dunfermline. Like, I think anybody that assumes that is kidding themselves on. The boys down south, Scottish parents and that, like, he can be enjoying his time in Dunfermline because he's playing all the time and he's scoring, but he can also be looking forward to coming back here. Both of those statements can be true.
Absolutely.
Like, he's playing, he's getting game time, he's scoring. Like, what else do you want?
He's scoring. He's been called up to his national team's under 21s, but he's still signed permanently to a Scottish Premiership club, and he probably has aspirations to play in the Scottish Premiership. So yeah, like you say, Ray, both statements can be true.
I think sorry, like jump in there, but I think he's just more happy that he's getting game time. Like, realistically, we brought this boy in for a university team. Like the same thing we done with Keelan. Like, we brought this boy in. Like, granted, he hasn't been the same impact that Keelan had. I forgot his name for a second there. But it's like, we brought this boy in for a university team. scoring 50 goals a season. And now he's playing full-time football, granted for a shite club, but he's playing full-time championship football now. Like,
One
that
thing
is
that
dreaming.
one thing you've got to give, you can give McGlynn credit for a lot of things, but I think that one thing that he does definitely excel at is working with a very small budget and being able to nurture and develop players. I think that's definitely one of his main attributes. That, like, Keelan Adams, I mean, like you say, like this is only his second season in professional football, and he's playing against Rangers and Celtic, and scoring worldies against Celtic as well, and that, and it's like I don't think every manager could get that level out of these players. I think that that's something that McGlynn's got in him, and if I trust anybody to be able to develop Barney Stewart into a player that could actually be effective at this level, it's I do genuinely trust John McGlynn. I don't see any reason why he couldn't develop him. I mean, let's take stock here for a second. Like, we're talking about games where we're winning games of football and that. This is still the guts of a team that was playing in League One.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I think sometimes, I'm not saying anybody takes this for granted, but sometimes I think we're maybe just getting a bit caught up in we're in the Premiership now, like, but we have not, like, sell 20 players and brought 20 new players in, and it's a completely unrecognisable team. This is the same spine. Like, I genuinely can't believe we're in the top six, and it's not even how on earth are we here? How did we win that game, or how did we win that game? We deserve to be where we are.
Yeah.
Aye. Especially like the way we played in this game as well. Like, it wasn't a case of like we got 3 lucky goals and we held on to it. We scored 3 decent goals. Like, Ethan literally, first goal, runs round the keeper, taps it in. McKeever gets to the second ball after a great shot from Kyrell. And then the third goal there, Ethan plays it down the wing to Calvin. Calvin scored a similar goal that he did score against Hamilton, just fires it across the box into the far corner. It's not like we're scoring lucky goals. We're scoring good goals, like, for top-class football.
Aye. I love this game in particular, right, because I felt like one of the main criticisms, other than the Achilles heel of conceding for set pieces, don't worry, that's coming up, for a bit of foreshadowing there. The other issue was that how often have we said it this season where Falkirk don't start playing until they're a goal down? It's such a bad habit to get into, and you're going to get caught out by it eventually. You can't just keep relying on comebacks in every game. So seeing us start the game so aggressively and so fast was such a breath of fresh air that was like 3-0 up at half time. Everybody's like, what do we do? Like, we're never in this position. We're usually losing at half time. Like,
or it's
is the game done?
It's like, even like majority of the games of the season that we feel are like, I even said this in my vlogs and that, it's like a lot of my titles recently have been Falkirk pull off a comeback. This was the first time I've made a title where I've not had to put the word comeback in the title, and it was a breath of fresh air. It's like every single game this season so far is a true game of 2 halves. Falkirk score a screamer to get a draw after a comeback. Last minute chaos if Falkirk bring back a comeback, all the same stuff. But it's like you said, it's a breath of fresh air.
Aye.
I thought this first half, this first 45 minutes is the best we've played all season. Maybe no, considering obviously the Dundee United game that we're going to talk about, but like the first 45, I thought that Kyrell, Ethan Williams, and Calvin moving into that sort of number 10 slot, which we'll obviously talk about more. The 3 of them were just so dynamic, interchanging positions at times. They all just seem to be on the same wavelength. And you can see like some of the football that they produce between the 3 of them is fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it's like the formations that both teams played in this game. This is where we're going to start getting like really clinical and focusing, but like, this isn't what you talk. We should just talk shite. If like they were both literally just like almost complete flips of each other. We start the usual 4-2-3-1. That's like our kind of formation, always has been. But Stuart Kettlewell started them with a 4-1-3-2. which is literally the alternative to ours. We have more of a spread out kind of Star of David shape, if you know what I mean. Whereas they had just a focus on like the attack and not so much the midfield, which I think was one of their kind of draws away from it because they didn't have anyone back to kind of stop us for the quick press we had against them in that first half.
Aye, yeah, their midfield, like their defensive midfield layer didn't know who to sort of press, and then obviously if he's no pressing, then one of the defenders has to press, and that obviously leaves space for our attackers to exploit.
And it was just one of those games where even like into the second half, sorry to jump in there, Ray, but it's like soon as the second half started, you felt a dynamic shift of right, cool, we're gonna just play to hold this now.
But here, by the way, here's the thing, right? People will make there was a drop off in the second half and things like that. Look, we all know at 3-0 the game's done. Like, let's no kid on that we were in any danger of that. Yes, teams can come back for 3-0 down. I mean, Scotland nearly done it against Greece, but we were in no danger. We were sound. Why exert yourself and risk injuries and risk other disciplinary things as well when the game's done? Like, it was a case of game management at that point, and I guarantee that's exactly what John McGlynn said to them at half time. Do not do anything stupid. Hold on to the result. If they nick a goal back, then we might need to do a bit more. But at 3-0, there's no need to panic. Be calm.
It's just one of those games, isn't it?
Yeah, I did think this was another sort of game of two halves. I think obviously Kelly were much better. Obviously, they made 3 substitutes at half time. They were much better in the second half, and obviously, I think they get one or two goals ruled off. I think correctly ruled off.
Yeah.
But obviously, like if VAR sees that different or like the fine margins, like they could have came back to 3-3-0. But obviously, like that's no saying that we would have stepped up our game and maybe went for a 4th or whatever. But I think it was a good kind of example of how our game management has kind of come along a bit since obviously what happened in the championship. We managed that second half well, even though obviously Kelly did come out. But obviously, yeah, we were defensively good. And we were never really in a hell of a lot of sort of trouble in terms of like the football that Kelly were playing. It was kind of like long ball stuff that was causing us issues.
No.
I think especially with that
John
game,
Jules boy.
Aye, it's like that game as well. Like even just like after half time, it wasn't a case of we gave up or we were complacent. It was just a case of we had to just stay composed. Granted, at points it felt really skittishy at the back when the goals, like the 2 offside goals and that came through. It was a case of it was just, it looked a bit like, oh, they're pressing us a lot now. Let's try and calm this down. And then obviously after the goal went in, it was one of the ones where as soon as John Jules scored, it was a case of our boys kind of went, okay, they've scored, breathe, regroup, and let's keep going. But after that, it was just a case of, hold on, we done really well to keep it going, and we got the win.
Yep.
No.
But right. Now that we've had some happy times, Ray, time for you to be upset.
Right, I guess that must mean it's time to talk about the game against Livingston.
It's always Livy.
I feel like I could copy and paste so many of the different comments that I've said about our games against Livingston. And no, I'm not talking about comments about their club or the size of their support, be that home or away. I just mean in terms of it's a thing now. It can't be denied at this point. Livingston are Falkirk's bogey team. It just feels like there's this inevitability that we will just not beat them under any circumstance at this point. And it's really, really infuriating at this point. It's even at full time, that I stayed to clap the players, but I'm shaking my head the entire time I'm doing it, and I've probably got a face like a slapped arse as I'm doing it because it's just like a come on to fuck boys. How can you no beat them? It's ridiculous at this point. It's like it's almost like a self fulfilling prophecy at this juncture where it's like they worry about not being able to beat Livingston, so it keeps happening and it keeps happening. It's just like that sense of dread when that corner was given. No, given. Sorry, it was a free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was really, really stupidly given away as well. And it's like that golden rule in football, isn't it? We've all seen it enough times where, see, if you give away a free kick or a corner really needlessly and really stupidly around the 90th minute, there's this unwritten rule in football that you will concede a goal for it. It always happens, and I don't know why. And of course, it happens against fucking Livingston. Talking about the game itself, I don't think it was a particularly great game. I'm not just saying that because we didn't win. I don't really remember. I remember that we created a lot of chances, a lot of like crosses, a lot of balls fizzed across the goal. Just couldn't get on the end of things. It was incredibly frustrating. I remember as well when we got the penalty because it was at the other side of the pitch. I didn't really see it. Like was it a handball?
Yeah.
When Graham stepped up to take it, I had a feeling he was going to score it, and I really just thought we were going to hold on for the 1-0. But I mean, it's the same thing I talked about for Motherwell as well. Doesn't matter how on top you are. If you're only 1-0, the other team's still in it. Doesn't matter how bogging they've been, and all they needed was one chance, and they get it right at the end of the game. I can't really think of them creating too much. Am I misremembering the game here? I mean, I did have a couple of pints during that game, but I don't specifically remember
I
them
don't
creating.
remember them doing much at all, to be fair.
I mean, no,
I
sorry, on
think
you go.
I was just going to say, I think obviously they gifted us the goal. Like I don't think May should have any reason to sort of elbow that, especially when VAR is there, elbow it away. Like obviously he's been punished. Out with that, obviously we had probably the majority of control in terms of like chances and possession and stuff. Livingston were just hoofing it every time. Like Wilson was just hoofing it, or the boy on the other side was hoofing it. But I think like towards the sort of the last 20 minutes, they were getting some kind of like joy in terms of like the long ball into the box. I think like they brought on more sort of physical presence up front, and yeah, they didn't really do anything exciting or anything like that. It was just relentless long balls, and we spent the last 20 minutes standing off them, trying to defend this one goal lead. And I don't know how many times I said it in that last 20 minutes. Like, why are we standing off them? Like, we're letting them take the time to put the long balls into the box. That's where they're going to hurt us.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously, Philip Lisa gives away the foul, which I'd probably say is the only real thing he's done wrong since he came in the match at half time at Motherwell. But unfortunately, yeah, we've been punished for it.
It's one of the ones, Tado. It's you can be critical of him giving away a stupid foul, but we've still got to defend it better.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely,
just
mate. Yep.
it's another one of these situations where, right, who do we mark for a set piece? Oh, I don't know. How about Danny Wilson? How about the guy they are going to be aiming for? Nah, we'll just let him head on the ball. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's one
it
of the
just
ones,
felt
innit?
like one of the Livy games, where it's just like
Right.
they've not created anything, they've not done anything, and then they just like we just didn't seem to know how to hold a lead against them.
It's just I don't know what it is with Martindale. I don't know what magical curse he's got errors that we just can't fucking beat the bastards. But it's like it's just there's something there. I don't know if he's got this magical voodoo cushion in his dugout that he just stabs with pins at the moment he needs a goal. But there's something there. There must be some like mentality issue with Livy, with Falkirk gone back all the years. Because it's not even a recent
It's
thing. We've not beat them since what 2018.
I mind I sent that in the chat. Like the last time Falkirk beat Livingston was 2018, and it was like a 93rd minute goal in a cup game, and it was away. Like it's
Yeah.
bogging how long this record stretches back. Like this isn't a recent thing. I'm really, really, really sick at this point. Like, see if it was a case of that we couldn't beat a team that's actually decent, then fine. But like Livingston are getting beat by everybody. I know that they played Rangers recently and they were extremely unlucky. I mean, we talk about handball decisions; they should have had a penalty all day long in that game. And I say that as someone who is very, very proudly a Livingston hater. Like I can't stand that club. I know everybody's team they hate the most is Dunfermline, but it's easily Livingston for me. Dunfermline are irrelevant to me. I don't really care about what they do about anything, what they say about Barney Stewart. Otherwise, couldn't care less. I despise Livingston Football Club with every fibre in my being. I hate them. I don't want to see us struggle to beat them anymore. I'm really, really fed up with it at this point. Right, rant over.
Yeah,
Well then.
if you look at it though, like we didn't lose the game, which obviously is a positive, and like didn't allow them to sort of gain any points on us, which obviously at the start of the season we probably see ourselves as we need to finish above them no matter what. And then obviously if we can then finish above any of the other teams like Dundee, Killie, St Mirren, Motherwell, whoever, like we need to make sure that we try and compete with them, but we just can't be allowing us to be below Livingston, because if you're below Livingston, you're probably at the bottom of the table and you're going to get relegated.
Just one of those ones. It's like they say it over and over again, like the set pieces and stuff. But like even like throughout the game, we had ample opportunities to make it 2 or 3-0, and we just didn't take them.
It's really frustrating, right? Because right at time of recording, we are on Saturday, the 29th of November, and
Don't fucking
Livingston
say that,
have.
because then when I upload this fucking midweek, they're like, you lazy bastard.
Well, you've already done yourself because you were talking about Hearts playing Motherwell. So,
Aye, shit.
Livingston currently have 8 points, and half of their total points have come at our expense. It's not good enough. Like we can say that, it's at least they didn't gain any ground on us or that. But at the same time, they're no picking up points against anybody else, yet they're picking up half of their total points against us. It's not good enough. It needs to improve. I think that's the only blemish on our season so far, is that, and bear in mind, I'm even including here where we've lost a game at home against St Mirren, where I don't think we were particularly great in that game, but like we need to do better. We can't be giving so many points away to a team that, and I'll die on this hill, we are a better football team than they are. I don't mean in terms of stature of club or that. I mean that over the course of a season, and it's easy for me to say this because we've got more than double their points already, but I mean, it's no surprise to me that we are in the position we are in because we play far better football than them. They look like they haven't got a clue how to play against anybody that isn't Falkirk.
Absolutely.
They seem to have Hibs' number and all, though. That's one thing they've definitely got. But
They've done well against Hibs, actually. Aye.
it is what it is. But there's one last game to talk to, and we'll give it to the man that was there, because I wanted to go. And I decided to be nice and no go because it was my mammy's birthday. But fucking regretted that one.
So I'll start off this by saying, if anybody was next to me at that game, I was riddled with the flu, but I thought I'm still going to go. And I'm sure that you would have dealt with a couple of days worth of being ill to get that result that we got. But yeah, obviously Dundee United probably not as impressive as they kind of were at the start of the season. But obviously going away to Tannadice is still quite a tough place to go, especially after they were off the back end, obviously just drawn with the league leaders Hearts the week before. So yeah, a tough game on paper, but what an absolute performance by the boys. Again, we talk about that kind of trio. Wilson, Williams, and Miller. Calvin Miller playing in that 10 role just seems to be absolutely thriving. And yeah, really, really impressive display. I know obviously some people point to the mistakes that the Dundee United keeper made. I mean, obviously the second one's an absolute gift. The first one he probably should be doing a little bit better. But we were absolutely flying in the game. Obviously that the first goal, Calvin Miller. I think that there's really, really good work in terms of the press to win the ball in the first place. And then obviously Brad just brings it out, takes it past the Dundee United player, and then obviously there's just a massive, massive gap in the defence for him to put Calvin Miller through. Obviously the right foot shot from Calvin Miller isn't the greatest, but it forces the keeper to do something. And he's got the confidence and obviously the courage to actually go and follow it up, which I think obviously.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to quickly say that it's also his reaction speeds as well. Like he reads that so quickly because he's on it like a flash.
Yeah,
And it's the fact it only took us 3 minutes to take the lead.
Another fast start. Love it. More of that, please.
Yeah.
It's like we're
Absolutely.
proving week in, week out that we've adapted to this league. Granted, there's going to be a few games where we're not going to have that opportunity to adapt that quickly. And I think I've said that a few times to a few folk. Dundee United did get a bit unlucky in that game. Like, I think if they had played any other keeper, it might have been a better game for them. They still would have lost, mind you, but like if they played a different keeper on a different day, it might have been a better game for them, but a bit of a lesser result.
I know that we're all Falkirk supporters first and foremost in that, but we still love football at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this in a patronising way or that, but I genuinely I feel really bad for their keeper because that's probably one of the worst goalkeeping performances I've seen in a while. He was at fault for every single goal.
No, like
and you could see he was devastated about it.
Like I've over the years, like obviously, I've not really expanded my vlogs outwards of Falkirk much outside of Stenny and that, but it's like even still, like at most Falkirk games, I try to keep myself somewhat neutral. Like I'm not one to we sit and singing the chants and that in every video, winding up the away fans. Like I'm no there to just appeal to Falkirk fans. I'm here to appeal to football fans. Like I'm trying to bring you the best fan experience I can give you without just going Falkirk, Falkirk, Falkirk every 2 seconds. Like I want to make it enjoyable for everyone. So it's I've managed to gain that little bit of neutralness. I mean I still go mental when we score, mind you, that's never going to change. But it's we can take it from anyone's perspective and a neutral perspective most of the time. When we're analysing it, we don't want to just analyse it from a Falkirk perspective. So just speaking about it, and that keeper had a blunder, and even Scott Bain said afterwards that he just gave him words of encouragement after the game. He just keep your head in, keep it going, just keep working, and you'll get there.
Scott Bain doesn't have to do that. Scott Bain, nobody would think less of him if he didn't go here and console him, but he's been there himself. He's made clangers when he played for Celtic. He knows better than anybody what abuse is like, because when you're at Rangers or Celtic and you make a mistake, you're not allowed to make mistakes at that club, at either of the clubs, I mean, because dropping any points against any team in the league is unforgivable. So he is probably a really, really good person to give a wee bit of advice and be like, you'll bounce back fit, you'll be fine in that. Cheers for the 3 points in that, but it's just one game. But looking at it, his form is actually pretty stinking. On flash scores, he was given a 6.4, a 6.1 before that. So he's been having a bit of a tough time of things. But we're not here to talk about him, are we?
Yeah. No. But I'm going to talk about him for the next goal.
Not directly.
Not his past form, but I would say the second goal comes in. A corner. I thought that we were applying the pressure at this point. I think we've had a good couple of chances. Obviously, Kyrell went through. I think the keeper actually done quite well. When Kyrell went through, he tried to chest it, and the keeper's done well. I think he punched one away successfully just before the corner that Calvin took that led to the goal. But you've got to be doing better than that as a goalkeeper. Like that one is an absolute clanger. It's not as if he's had to come through a massive reiki bodies or anything like that. He's got a relatively clean sort of approach to it, and he's just completely misjudged it. I mean, obviously it's a wicked ball in for Calvin, but as a professional goalkeeper, you can't be making that type of mistake.
See, maybe I'm a bit biased, right? Because it was always as a goalkeeper that I would play, and I know what it's like as well. You make a mistake, right? Do you make a mistake early on in the game? It's on your mind, and you're thinking about it. You start second guessing yourself, and you start making more mistakes and more mistakes. Like, he knows how to punch a ball. Like, he knows fine well that he's going to do better with that. But the worst part is that, like, see any other player on the pitch, they make a mistake, might lead to a goal, but a goalkeeper makes mistakes, absolutely leading to a goal, and it's definitely the most difficult position to play in for that aspect alone. It's a bad one, and like he literally punches it into his net. That's horrific.
Yeah.
For somebody who's like, obviously the easy option, put the fat kid in goal, like always growing up with that. Like, you obviously learn to adapt to being a keeper on that, but it's one of the things where it's like you make the smallest mistake and it haunts you for the rest of the game. Doesn't matter if it's just you and your mates playing five-a-sides, or you're even just playing cuppy with your pals. It's a case of shit. I've made a big mistake here. They're gonna just try and capitalise on that, and the more you focus on that one mistake, the more you're just gonna make it again.
Yeah, it's the only position on the park really that walks a tightrope. You save a penalty in the last minute, like you're absolutely praised.
You're the hero.
If you think about an own goal or miss a catch or like you're absolutely
You're the worst player gone.
you're like blasted by like the fans and like hopefully not your teammates, but I've seen it happen. But like anything sort of like out with that, like obviously we talk about Scott Bain and he's been really good and he's kept us in games and stuff like that. But to know sort of rip off Roy Keane's, like that's his job, eh? Like, that's his job. But like if he makes mistakes, then yeah, like we're punished really bad, and that it's the hardest position to play. And like Ray was saying, I do feel for him, the Dundee United keeper. It's just been one of those days at the office that he just wants to completely forget.
Yep.
I'm sorry to just interject and take this completely like off script here, but my phone's just exploded as 5 teams have all just scored in the exact same second in the Scottish Cup.
That's mad.
In the exact same second. And funnily enough, one of them is Camelot Juniors against Edinburgh City.
Oh, nice.
1-0 to Camelot.
That would be a big result for them.
Aye, that's like, there's obviously I'm not want to like tell everyone the scores and that, but like it's not the only upset right now.
Right.
Looking like Talbot are beating Dumbarton like I predicted.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, back to the Dundee United game. So yeah, we go on at half time and it's 2-0 to the Bairns. Great performance so far. We look very much on top of the match. Scott Baines had a few sort of straight at him headers and stuff that probably they should be doing better. I think they hit the bar with one of them, but I think Bain had it covered anyway. So it's a very, very comfortable performance so far. Second half starts and it's kind of more of the same. I think Dundee United came out a little bit sort of more hungry, and we're putting some pressure on without really doing too much damage. And then obviously we have the controversial, if you like, VAR review on the Brian Graham incident. What's your thoughts on that one, boys?
It was weird. Me and my wee cousin were sitting watching it in my papa's kitchen, Totally legally, by the way. And we were sitting watching it, and we were just looking at each other like, "Why is VAR checking this?" He's clearly just went to run past them, and the boys just stopped in his tracks, like trying to like no let Brian through. That's what we think interpreted it as. But then we watched the back in the replay, and like a different angle looked like he hit him, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And I watched the back, and I'm like, "That's fine. I'll be a yell at most." But then obviously the Dundee United commentators were like, "I don't think VAR is allowed to check for yellow cards because they were checking for a red card. You fucking dunce."
Yeah.
But still, it was like it was a weird one.
Ray?
I don't know. I don't see like, despite everything I've said about Brian Graham and that he likes bamming folk up, and winding up defenders and that. For me, it felt like he was leaving a wee bit in. He was doing something a bit naughty, but I'm not convinced it's a red card level of naughty. It's a right. You're a bad wee boy. Here's a yellow card. Behave yourself. It's not a that's violent conduct and you need a red card for that. Like, come on. Every striker does things like this throughout a game. A good one anyway. Will do things like this to unsettle defenders and that. I don't think a red card was. Maybe I'm biased here. I don't think it was red card worthy.
I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I'm watching this back in slow motion now. The boy literally steps in front of Brian before Brian goes through him.
Yeah.
I've slowed it right down to 0.5, and you watch the boy look behind him, sidestep in front of Brian, and Brian just went, "No, move."
Yeah.
Right, he leaves a wee bit in when he does it.
Aye, like he does a wee bit of the forearm action, but like it's not violent conduct, which is what the check was for.
Aye.
So like for me, like, didn't get me wrong, like I didn't want Brian Graham to be given VAR or the refs to make a decision on that
Aye.
in the first place. However, I think the right decision was made, and it's like I didn't even think even like the yellow card is could have been like a bit of 50-50. I think the referee's just done that because it was a check for a red card, so there was obviously something there. But it could have just been a talking to him, being like, "Look, didn't he be putting your forearm in or whatever? If he comes across you, then like obviously you're going to barge into him, protect yourself, but you've done a wee bit more than protect yourself."
You put a bit of pressure in there that you didn't need to put in.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather Brian Graham doesn't give VAR or the ref a decision to make on those types of things.
Aye.
But at the same time, Ray, I take your point on, like, that's his sort of personality on the pitch and his sort of
he lives on the edge.
Yeah.
I like that about him a day. Like, it's something, like I said earlier, that when you're on the other side of it, you absolutely despise these kind of players. But they're players you absolutely want in your team because they will piss off the opposition majorly.
And I think that kind of natural aggression as well is helpful. Like when balls are coming across like the face of the goal or whatever, he's like, "I'm going to get there before you." Like, it doesn't matter what you try and do, I'm going to get there before you. That type of natural aggression is what you want in your sort of striker, and I think that he has that.
Yeah, he definitely does. And especially like how he is with like just away fans as a whole. Like even if he doesn't score, he looks at them and kind of just laughs at them, and you see them just immediately like the vein in the forehead popping, and they start going mental. Same with like Scott Bain against Dundee, where he like put his ears to the fans, and then the fan heavily tried to jump him, mind you, but it's like that wee bit of wind up. It's like
something else as well. Right, see, I know you're going to talk about the goal, so I'm stepping on toes again here, but I just need to talk about his celebration. I need somebody to explain what that is all about.
What, the 6-7?
Is that what that is? Like, I'm a boomer,
I think he thought it was the 67th minute, and he's done it that way. But I don't. I think it was just a kind of a wind up. No, it was the 63rd. Sorry, 62nd. It was during the minute applause for
Colin Campbell,
for Colin. Aye. That's one way to do a minute applause though. Getting to score in a minute applause, like that's what I'd want if I died.
Aye, I'm sure the boy would have loved that.
No, my fucking luck would be playing Dunfermline and used to do a minute applause and they bastards score.
here, it's just in case if I drop the more, I want a minute of booing for me. That would be great.
That'd be easy to fucking do.
Aye, boo me.
But yeah, obviously the goal itself, like some absolutely amazing passing between the team. Like there was a good number of passes before Calvin Miller picked it up, and just the sort of awareness for Calvin to like he's picked it up in the middle of the park and he anticipates that pressure coming really quickly, and then he's just pinged it with the outside of his boot, and obviously Brian Graham, like a veteran forward, he knows where the space is, because that boys came
Even
out to pressure Calvin.
even
And
towing a caravan, he's still got all the time in the world, man.
like even like obviously with his pace is never his game, but like he's used his striker's instinct there. And then obviously the keepers came out to try and like close the angle down. I think Brian's just touched it past him. Again, experience versus probably inexperience for the keeper. And then yeah, it's a great finish. And then,
I don't know
like
if it was just me in that game, sort of interject there, but it's like I thought that was the fastest I've ever seen him run. Like genuinely in that game, he developed a new like running pace where he actually could run for a point in time.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well because I was like, is it just the defence being that slow that it's made him look faster by contrast? Because he's definitely slow. So I don't know why he looks so fast.
Yeah. But yeah, so 3-0. And then obviously great for Craig Sybil to celebrate his 500th appearance with a good Falkirk win. But yeah, great atmosphere for the fans and stuff as well. One thing I would just want to mention about the game, probably I've seen one aware of it on TV or anything like that. Scotty Arfield never got on, obviously. So he was doing his shuttle runs at the end. And then basically when he was doing runs towards the away end, everybody was starting singing like, we were like, whoa, and then we started singing the Saturday Night song. It was brilliant. He was getting the applause and stuff like that. It was class. Good.
I'm guessing you just got held behind for the game.
No, really not. It was just
Everyone stayed.
Quite difficult to get. Obviously, everybody stayed and like clapped the players and stuff like that. I mean, the Dundee United stands emptied pretty fast towards the.
They were empty before the 70th.
Yeah. But yeah, great victory away, and obviously puts us in a really good position at the moment.
Mm-hmm. But now we have to face the travel to Ibrox. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think obviously they've improved under Danny Rowe compared to Russell Martin. That's not really hard to be honest. But
it's not much better for that.
But I think that we've also improved since we last played them, and we're on a good running form at the moment.
And also the fact that they're just after the game, Braga, could the European hangover play us into the good books? It's just one of the ones, isn't it?
They tend to start the games quite slowly, and we've made a habit of starting games quite fast of late. So they find themselves a goal down early on, like they did against. I was going to say Livingston. I can't mind if they equalised or if it doesn't matter. Who cares?
I think they'll have equalised.
Aye, but like if we can take the game to them early on and get into the lead, it doesn't take much for Ibrox to turn into a really hostile, quite toxic place and that. So like. Here, by the time this goes out, we'll already know what the result is. So,
cheeky bastard! I'm not that fucking slotted in.
Are you?
No. I get my vlogs out the day they cut the day of the game. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, like I totally get what you're saying, Ray. It will turn into a hostile place, and that's kind of what I think that we need to try and do. Try and take that to them early, like the wee sort of trio that we've got, a quick dynamic players. If they can sort of get off to a good start and we get a goal early, then yeah, it could be a long afternoon for Rangers. It'll be a long afternoon for us. I'll hold on to a lead, but
we've got to believe in ourselves a bit more, because the only two really, really bad away performances have been against, like we mentioned, Celtic and Hearts, where we've just not competed. But we've discussed a few recent games. Some of our best performances have been away games. There's no reason why we can go there tomorrow without a decent level of confidence, because we are where we are on merit. If Livingston can take the game Rangers, and Livingston were really, really unlucky to not come away with something for that game, like genuinely. We're a better team than Livingston, and I know that's not how it works on paper and that, but like, I don't see any reason why we can't compete. If Rangers point at their absolute best, then we probably can't win the game of that. But what even is Rangers' best? Like, they've been shocking this season. So
No, it's one of the ones where, like, even like looking at it for like our perspective, it's like, but on paper we look equals, but it's like, it's one of the ones in it. Like,
on paper, they like, we need to take the navy blue tinted glasses off. On paper, they are a better side than us in terms of individual players, what their market value is, what they've done in the game, etc. Like, they've got better high profile players than what we've got.
Granted, but recently, because of recent form, like looking at like the stats recently, goals scored, we've scored 19, they've scored 17, but they've only conceded 11 goals compared to our 21. That's
yeah. So I think we, like Ray says, we need to be confident going there. We can get a result. But obviously, we need to be playing at our best, and I think that's what the difference between us and them is that they've got good players, we've got a better team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, if Rangers win the game, it'll be through somebody doing something individually brilliant, whereas we'll get a result by working hard as a team.
Yeah.
So, well, predictions then, since that's us all caught up.
I am not going to give a prediction. I'm too scared to. I'd say, realistically, no, fuck it, I'm going to say it. 1-0 Falkirk.
All right, I'll go 2 each.
That's the same as me. I'm 2 each.
I think we'll get the early goal, or we'll nick it just before half time, and somehow hold it. Even if it means it's one of the games where as soon as the ball enters the box, we just hoof it back up to the other side, I'd take that.
I mean, I'd take a 1-0 win all day long, but I just think that it's going to be a share of the spoils.
Fingers crossed.
I've got a funny feeling we will score early, but see if it ends up 1-0, that's going to be torture.
The thing is though, right, even if we do win 1-0 though, the Rangers fans are gonna be even more hostile than they already are against us when they come back in a few weeks' time. But at the same time, it's gonna be absolutely horrific for the pundits, because there's no way, especially for Stephen Milne, to call us fortunate Falkirk anymore. Like, if we pull out a win against them,
that's sailed by now.
I don't know. I've stopped watching the podcast after you left. I think we all did. I only really watched it to watch him greet and moan. But it's just one of the ones, man. We have to get the points. We have to. We need to maintain this top 6. We've been there. We've stuck there for a bit. Falkirk fans aren't going to take any less now.
It just goes back to what I already said, right? We can't go up against the likes of Celtic and Hearts and think, oh, they're so much better than we are. We can't exist in their reality. We're just there to get pumped and that. No, we're a good team. Like, we have to believe that we can get results against the best teams in the league, because teams below us have picked up points against the likes of Hearts and Celtic. Why can we not do it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. I think if that's us, then we can wrap this up. for the
We're
night.
all caught up, which is
All
good.
caught up. This is the first time in a while. Now, we do have part 2 to do for the season review last year, but we'll get to that eventually. But
That ship might have sailed, but
yeah, if we have enough time, we'll come back to it. Don't quote us on that though. But no, thank you guys for being with us. There was a few things I want to touch on, but we're kind of reaching our time limit here, so we'll maybe come back to that in a different episode. But if you have enjoyed us being back, please like and subscribe. If you do want us to talk about anything or have anything added to the podcast, let us know, because, you know, we're a podcast for the fans. It's not just for us to talk shit and use listen. We do like your input, especially...
happy to talk about anything.
as long as it's not Dunfermline. But, but yeah, if you have guys enjoyed this episode, let us know. We'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.
Yeah, guys.
Good folk.